record. Oh, it keeps saying that to me now. I think it's a new thing. So here we go. We're going to start in static back. I did a really nice thing yesterday, like 25 minutes in static back because I got a really sore knee, and I thought, come on, practice what you preach here. Get in static back, switch off everything, and I woke up this morning and it had gone. I haven't run on it today, so that'll be the test tomorrow. But I thought, let's start in static back, where we don't just rush off into exercises. We actually give ourselves a chance to settle and to get the benefit of this position. So we're going to be here for a nice 5 minutes. Please don't fall asleep. And I just want you to not analyze, not trying to do our deep breathing, not trying to anything, just lying, just being there. We know the shape that we're meant to be in. We're quite familiar with that now. Just allowing yourself to really relax and arrive. You know, sometimes I might be brave enough to spend like 20 minutes with you in static back. I think I would find it hard not to fill the gaps with my chatter. But you know, the benefits of giving yourself that time in this shape aren't big. Allow whatever thoughts are there to be there. Just stopping and pausing. Being together with this lovely, relaxing energy. I'm letting another couple of people in. Oh, they can join us in. It's interesting sometimes, you know, when we get in this position, sometimes we're carrying like the weight of the day or our worries, concerns, anxieties with us, and you can feel it sometimes as you lie down. It's there in your body as you put yourself in this shape. Other times when it feels easier, you tend not to notice the easy feelings. Tend to be more aware of those where we're really feeling that tension as we lie down. So if you're noticing if there's an easy feeling in your body today, have a little notice of that. And if you are carrying any baggage with you down to the floor, just for the next 30 minutes, mentally take off the baggage, pop it on a chair, on a shelf, on a table, and give yourself the space to be you, just as you are. Just being you and your body. Nobody requires you right now. Only yourself. Moving into a nice big breath, almost like a sighing breath. So I'm not going to draw down the belly button and pull the abdominals down for this first few breaths. Just going to take like a sigh in breath. You might even want to make a noise. The joys of zooming together and make whatever sound effects feel right. How does your body feel when you take that sighing breath? A signal to let go. And you know what? If you have been busy today and you do fall asleep and you spend the next 30 minutes fast asleep in this position, so what? You know, that's going to still be good. We're going to start to bring that body into some movement now. Really subtle, small movement to start with. Gently drawing the shoulder blades towards one another and release. Towards one another, underneath the body and release. Gentle squeeze, and I'm not coming to my maximum squeeze. I'm looking at a nice, even, probably 50%, 60% squeeze. And I want to make sure that my tummy is nice and relaxed. Keep that spacious feeling in the mind and the body as we go through our movements. Maybe you close your eyes and you're just feeling what's going on. Squeeze and release the shoulder blade, gentle. Squeeze and release. So my chest shouldn't be rising and falling off the, up and down towards the ceiling. It's almost like I don't want my chest to move. I just want my breath to be nice and relaxed. We're going to work through a few more. It's gentle. I shouldn't be burning or aching. It's like I'm just recognizing this movement that's possible in my shoulder blades and shoulders. I'm going to make this my last one. Nice. I'm going to go straight into pullovers. So I'm reaching up, interlace my hands, shoulder blades melted along the ground. Make sure the palms of your hands together. Sometimes people tend to make a little arch. Make sure the palms are together, and those sort of the pads of hands are together. And just slowly taking that movement forward and back. Again, relaxing the belly, keeping that spacious, light feeling inside. Nothing else requires your energy. You're just being your own companion as you move through this sequence of exercises. It's all about straightening, lining yourself up so that your body will function at its best. Forward and back, keeping the belly relaxed, being your own best friend here. So kind thoughts. If the arms won't go all the way back and your head's sort of getting in the way, don't worry, just keep your elbows straight, be patient, be kind to yourself, work through the movements, say to yourself, I know that keeping my elbows straight is going to improve the function of my shoulders. So that's as far as we're going tonight, that's as far as we're going. Forward and back. I'm going to do 4 more of these. I'm going too fast for you, then you take your time, feel what's going on in your body. That is my last one. And then you're going to bring your arms into a goalpost position, the side of your body. Just let them in, elbows in line with shoulders. And elbows are touching the floor. So you'll see that my elbows are such that upper arm is on the floor. And if I put my hands back, it might be that your elbows pop up from the floor a little bit. So if they do, you're just going to keep your elbows and that top of your arm on the floor, okay? That's going to be my goal as I slide the arms up and down, is to keep that upper part of my arm and elbows on the floor. Now, if your forearm is nice and floppy and it's able to be on the floor without your elbows popping up, go for it. If your upper arms, elbows, wrists, forearms on the floor and everything's staying there and your elbows aren't popping up, keep going. And if wrists and backs of the hands are on the floor without elbows popping up, have that full range of movement. So I'm getting a bit of a clunky click, uncomfortable feeling in my left shoulder when I do that, almost like a click. Oh, it's gone now, so I'm not feeling any pain, so I'm listening for that. So if you're feeling pain, take a rest, stop, wait for the next exercise. But remember, if you're doing this and your elbows are up, then we're defeating the purpose of this particular exercise, which is again to restore function into our shoulders. Closing my eyes, getting back in that space we created. Not critical, being your own best friend here, your own companion. One more. And we're bringing our cushion into static back. So my cushion is between my thighs, cushion or block, chunky block if you're using a block. It's wide enough and resistant enough to keep my knees right in line with my hip bones. Palms of my hands are still up. Just check that you haven't gone too far back with your arms, because if we do, we can actually bring our shoulders out of that sort of nice settled back position. We start to lift up the back away from the floor. So about 45 degrees ish is a good place to be. And then you're just going to gently squeeze and release your cushion or block. And you can see that my feet are floppy for this exercise. So I'm not active in those ankles and feet just yet. Although, because I'm still aligned, I've still got my ankles in line with my knees. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Just going to adjust my position a little bit. That's better. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. If you're too far, too close to the chair with your bottom like I was then, it was like I could feel the edge of the chair just running along the back edge of my knee, and it did not feel comfortable. So I just shuffle back a bit, making sure that I am in that nice L-shaped position. Squeeze, release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze. Make sure your feet aren't coming together. Close your eyes. I'm going to keep going. And you're going to get back into that space inside, that gentle space. Maybe there's even a bit of humor, banter with yourself about, oh gosh, it's so funny how my shoulder, no wonder my shoulder's not working properly because I did this. Have a bit of humor and lightness with yourself. Squeeze and then release. Even squeeze in, even release out. Even squeeze in, even release out. A couple more. Last one. and then switch those feet on. So I've got my feet switched on now. I'm bringing that activity, that stable aliveness into my feet now, from my hips, knees, and down through to ankles. So I'm going to have a little check that my feet are aligned, so my feet aren't turned out, that they're as they should be when we stand up. So toes pointing forward, slightly turned in. And you're going to keep a little light pressure on your cushion now, a little light pressure, really drawing the toes back towards your knees. Gently lift your legs off the chair, extend your legs up towards the sky, straightening your knees if you can, bend the knees and replace on the chair. So I bring my lower legs off, I straighten, I bend, I replace. Off, straighten, bend, and replace. So again, we're wanting both legs to be firing up and lifting at the same time. We're engaging the abdominal muscles a little here as well. And you might notice the flatness. There might be a difference in the flatness of your feet. So one foot might be able to really flatten up towards the sky, and the other one might be a little bit tilted forwards. So just notice what's going on in your feet. Look at the position of your kneecaps. Make sure they're nice and parallel, and release. And if you're getting tired or you've had enough, take a little breather. I'm going to go through 10 more of these. So I'm lifting, relaxing my belly, checking that my feet are really switched on. Got some real sensation in my quads, my shins. I'm getting my knees in really good shape here for like a downward load when I stand up. So if you think about it, I'm not putting that pressure through my knees, but I'm asking them to bend evenly, to communicate with my hips and my feet and ankles when I do this. My back's nice and relaxed because I've taken all of that effort and energy to realign shoulders and back, and I've completely lost count. I'm going to do 3 more. I reckon that's about 10. Don't get hung up on the numbers. Listen to your body. Stop when you feel it's right. That's my last one. I'm going to come away from the chair now. Come on to all fours. And you're going to take a kneeling extension stretch. So now this is about getting rid of any tension in the neck and taking rotation out of our hips as we start to move from lying to kneeling to standing. So 1.5 fists between my knees, hands forward, hands underneath my shoulders. I'm just going to check that my hips were above my knees there, and then my head was going to the next exercise. So one hand's length forward, the other hand's length forward, and then see how my hips come forward. Yeah? So my shoulders come over my wrist, but I am not doing this. I'm not letting my bottom sink under. I'm not doing this. All right, so my shoulders come over. First thing I'm going to drop is my shoulder blades together. That will naturally put my pelvis in a lovely tilted S-curve position, and then the head hangs. Okay, so what's brilliant about being on hands and knees for your hips, or kneeling on your knees like this, is that force, that one limb, that one thigh bone against the floor and up into the hip, and asking it to move in this way means that it has to be balanced. It's easier to bring an imbalance through and into your shoulders because we've got a few joints to work through, wrists and elbows. So let's let that head drop, let the shoulder blades sink together. Notice if you're gripping with the thighs or the glutes, and relax the belly. Okay, so your hips should only be probably about 5 centimeters, maybe 5 to 8 centimeters in front of your knees. If they're any further, it's too far. Excuse me. Nice big breaths where you are. Get back into that space of letting go, of feeling what's going on. Being curious about how your body's feeling, being your own best friend. And if your arms are shaking or whatever you've been doing today means that right now you've had enough, then either sit back towards your heels or just get into a resting position. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths here before I move. Listen to your body. It's going to help my neck really relax a little bit more. Really good for headaches, this position. Helps release tension. Headaches that have come from tension in the back of the neck. And that is my last one here. Flip onto my back. Line up my body, getting hot now. I'm moving around. Lie on my back and lie in soldier position, or standing, a standing position, but lying down, if you understand what I mean. So basically my feet are flat, my knees are lined up with hips, my arms are by my side. I want enough room behind me to be able to do a cross crawling. So we're going to ask the body to move now before we take up some really deep stretches towards the end of this little class. So my feet are switched on, thighs are tight, knees are straight, nice and relaxed, gaze is up towards the ceiling. Left arm goes back, right knee in line with hip, and then everything comes back to soldier position, cross crawling. I'm going to move a little bit because I'm hitting my sofa. And what I want to do here is tighten up that straight leg. And also when you're reaching back, my elbow is straight. So if that means that your arm doesn't go all the way back to the floor, absolutely fine. Keep that limb nice and straight. Let's have that load nice and even that's moving through those shoulders. Yeah, shoulders take a lot of rap, don't they? Different stuff that we do. And particularly if we had a little bit of conversation about gardening at the beginning. If you're into your gardening, then we get so engrossed in what we're doing that some of the positions that we end up in and doing more than we should, your body lets you know the day after. So keep that tightness as you return back to soldier position, really nice and strong, knee in line with hip. Cross crawling is a brilliant full recruits all of the big postural muscles. So it really has a lot going on here as the muscles start to talk to one another to really get nice and steady full range of movement across the body, side to side. Keep going. 4 more. 3. Keep those feet nice and flat, belly relaxed. 2 and 1, and then lie on your side. Okay, lion twist, one of my absolute favorites here. So I'm stacked up, shoulder to shoulder, knee on knee, ankle on ankle, bending into an L shape in this lower part of the body. Check that your heels aren't coming up to your bottom. So it's not a deep bend behind the knees, it's L-shaped again. Lovely. Hold the knees together. Glue those knees together so that they cannot slide away from one another. Head rests down on the floor. Feet are active, and when you're ready to, take that left arm up and behind you. Let the head roll and let your left arm and hand hover there. Palm up, elbow pit up. Checking that your knees aren't sliding away. I'm going to time us on here this evening. And we're here now, we've set up for a minute. We're now here for our full 2 minutes. So we're taking 3 minutes on each side here. Lovely way of opening up the chest, the shoulder. You may find now that your knuckles are on that left hand or nearing the floor. Have a little feel of your knees. Check that they're still lined up. And if you think, well, what does she mean lined up? I mean that if we had a piece of paper stood up in front of your knees or a birthday card, both knees will be touching that piece of paper. Okay, if one was away, then we've slid out we're not stable in the lower part of the body, which means that anything we're asking the upper part of the body to do will not be aligned, will not be balanced. Okay, so this stability, this fixed position, the lower part of the body allows the upper part of the body to move in the correct way. And that's often why we feel very different side to side on this exercise. Because we use each side of the body differently. Relax the belly. Notice where is your resistance point, which is the part of you that resists. Maybe it's the back, maybe it's your shoulder, maybe it's the neck. Maybe it's a challenge to keep those knees together. Lovely. Take a deep breath before you rush away from that position. Release the lower arm and close the book. Let your body adjust a little before you quickly jump to the other side. So always take your time in between positions and set up well. Set up well. Set up with purpose. Better that you're here for less time, but you've got the setup right, than quickly throw yourself onto the floor into a lying twist that isn't going to give you what those 2 minutes or however many minutes are designed for. So I've glued my knees together, ankles are together, feet are flexed. I'm really flat on those feet, really stable, stabilizing the lower part of the body. And you may have noticed with Egoscue that often we ask one part of our body to be stable while the other part moves. We usually do that first, and then we might ask the body to then take some more dynamic movements like the cross crawling or Superman, which we've sometimes done. Just check that your shoulder hasn't slid forward like mine just had. Maybe you feel this around your ribs. This is a lovely, 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 safe, functional stretch position. You might think, well, what does she mean functional? You know, it's getting the body to do what, so it can perform the task that we want it to do well. So if we were to overstretch or to do extreme positions, then we might take the body out of its natural functional shape and end up getting more niggles than we might have when we started. Relax your belly, nice big breaths. Okay. Big breath in before you move back. Closing the book. Sometimes might take your breath away. It does with me sometimes. I just need to lie there to let everything kind of adjust and settle, and then back onto your hands and knees, cats and dogs, or pelvic tilts. If your knees have had enough today, and you don't want to go into cats and dogs, it's going to be compromised by anything that's feeling uncomfortable, then lie on your back, hook lying position, and pelvic tilts. But if you're here with me, straight elbows, spread your hands, knees right underneath your hips, check your position, and you're going to let chin come under, lead with the pelvis, then let the shoulder blades sink, head comes up. Just moving through, steadily through cats and dogs. Always a focus with Egoscue on those straight limbs so that our joints are being asked They might not feel like they are to move evenly. It might sometimes feel really like foreign to move like this. But think about what your back maybe has been carrying in terms of imbalance. So if we bend one elbow and we move it around to try and accommodate it because it feels better, then we're just reinforcing those compensations within the body, where our body compensates to get the full range of movement. A couple more. Nice. And then I'm going to come onto my back, feet together, frog. Let's put our shoulders and hips back in good alignment before we go back into static back. So here, restoring S-curve. Natural lumbar curve, palms facing up. We're going to have a little check along the body. Maybe you've noticed the balance in your knees getting better over time, more level. Like if you were to put a spirit along the spirit level on the top of those inside edges of the knees, maybe they're starting to level out a little. So let your breath and your state of mind back into that relaxed space that you tried to encourage at the beginning. Raising the palm of your hands. Check that your head hasn't lolled to one side. And just noticing how your body will adjust into this shape. In its own way, its own time. And one of the benefits of being here in your own space is that we're not comparing ourselves to anybody else. We just can't do that. There's no one else to look at. There's only you to be with. And I quite like that. Gently bringing your knees towards one another and pop yourself back into static back. Hopefully it's not too much of a shuffle for you. Put something on if you think you're going to get cold. Making sure that you've got that nice space between the feet. The palms of your hands are up. 45 degrees away from the body, returning to where we started this evening. Close your eyes. Let your body settle in. If any thoughts or baggage have returned, just gently, not time yet, just gently move them to one side, just giving yourself that space. We can come back to that after. For now, it's about being ourselves, just simply being you. Keeping yourself company. Not alone with yourself. And feel that space. Noticing the space around the outside of your body now. Space and softness between the fingers and the toes. Space and softness in the mouth. Space inside the cheeks. Space around the eyes. Space in the sockets of the eye. Space on the inside. Space in the chest. Space and lightness in the lower body. Peacefully spending time with yourself. Gently bring yourself away from any thoughts that you might be having. Bring them back into your body and just find your breath. Take that sighing breath again and make a pact to, as best you can, be your own friend and move away from those thoughts that are not what a best friend would give you. If you were to be your own best friend, what words would you offer as a friend? When you're ready to, if you want to, time to finish our class, but if you're enjoying just resting peacefully in that static back position, please do not feel you have to move. I'm going to say goodbye and stop the recording and send it on to you if you would like it, and have a lovely evening. Whatever you're going on to do next, I shall see you on Friday night if you're coming to class. Take care. Have a good Wednesday. Nice to have you all there. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Jo.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jo.
Bye.